Chalk Talk is brought to you by Isolite, the emergency lighting experts. Stay educated, my friends.
Good morning. Happy Halloween to everybody. Thank you for joining us for October Chalk Talk. I'm Western Regional Manager Greg Keel, along with our Eastern Regional Manager Matt Bird. And as you can see, our topic today, we're going to be talking about all the options that we offer on exit signs and our inverters. There's quite a few variety of options that we offer on our products. So our sales support engineer, Tom Deutsch, is on. He's our host today. He's dressed in costume here in the office. I see Jason Drobel has joined us today as well. Jason is quoting away on the inverters for you all and also dressed up in the office. But we appreciate you joining us. I actually was just going through our email submissions on our pumpkins. So thank you for participating. If you haven't sent one in yet, you still have time to the end of the day to send that pumpkin submission in. But we hope you all have a happy and safe Halloween. And with that, I'll hand it over to Tom. Tom, take it away.
Thanks, Greg, and what's going on, everybody? Happy Halloween. I hope you're ready for another electric chalk talk, so let's dig right into it. So we're going to do this, as always, in three parts. First, we're going to talk about exit signs, emergency lights, and specifically, we're going to start naming their options and defining them. We're going to do the same thing for inverters, and then we're just going to go over some of our marketing and sales stuff. So right away, when you look at a spec sheet, it's a little bit overwhelming, so I just want to sort of simplify what we're dealing with here. There's always going to be an example at the top with the ordering logic. In general, every field will have one input all the way up to option 9, which is options, where you can input as many options as you'd like. In order to make things a little bit simpler, you can see this first row is generally how the sign or the emergency light's going to look, and then how it's going to install, and then at the bottom you have how it'll actually operate. And we'll be digging mostly into that bottom section of how it will operate. Another thing to be aware of are ordering notes. So every spec sheet will have ordering notes at the bottom of it. Really important to pay attention to this because sometimes there's options that are incompatible with each other. So let's dig in and start defining some options. The most basic is AC versus EM. AC doesn't have a battery, EM does have a battery. Dual circuit, a little bit stranger. So you're going to either see CX, C1, or C2 for this. CX just means it's dual circuit. C1 means it's a dual circuit option for 120 volt AC, and then C2 is for 277. One ordering note that you'll see sometimes with dual circuit is that you cannot install two constantly hot circuits into the device. If you don't see this note, though, you can definitely do that. SD, so SD, self-diagnostics, also called auto test a lot of the time. This just automatically tests the device every 28 days. It displays an LED. That way you don't have to go in and press a button every month. IR receiver, you're going to need TLRT. That is an accessory. You'll see these on the spec sheets every time you see IR receiver. This just allows you to initiate a test from the ground. This is good for the annual tests, or if you have something that's mounted pretty high that's difficult to get to press a button. Extended runtime and remote capacity are both notated as EB. It stands for extra battery because they basically do the same thing, because with remote capacity you can power remote. If you choose not to power remote, then you just have extended runtime. Flasher, this flashes the legend when you're in emergency mode. Audible alarm when you're in emergency mode will make a sound. Oftentimes this will be included with FL. The fire alarm interface, this makes the sign or the light activate. So the lights will just turn on, the legend will flash whenever the device receives a signal from your fire alarm system. Vandal shield is just a bubble that goes on and protects the sign, and tamper-proof screws. These have a security Torx as opposed to like a Phillips head design, so that it's a little bit harder for somebody to break open the sign. This would be really good for like prisons and stuff. The vandal shield would be really good for any time you're in like a gymnasium where there's like basketballs flying around that could end up hitting and damaging the sign. In general, when you're in public spaces, you might want both of these. Anywhere where there's a lot of people moving around, like perhaps a train station or such. Heater's another one that sometimes is voltage dependent in general. This is just your battery is heated, but sometimes, again, H1 is going to be for 120, H2 for 277, HX, it doesn't matter. Extended electronics warranty, just going to boost your electronics warranty from 5 to 10 years. This doesn't include the battery, it's just for everything else inside the device. Custom wording, you can get anything that you see on the right in these pictures or anything else that you can dream up, we can end up custom printing onto an emergency sign. Time delay. This keeps the emergency lights on for 15 minutes after you have power restored. This is to help with ballast restrike on sodium lights because they take a little bit to boot back on. Let's run over a little example here. So here we have a historic stone building and we're in a courtyard and we need to be able to get out of that big brown door. That is our exit. So what do we want to do? We want to match this aesthetic. If we put something super modern or super cheap looking out here, it's not really going to fit the aesthetic. It's going to ruin the architecture. We also have to connect to a fire alarm system in this application. We can't really wire in a back box into sheetrock here because there's just stone. And we're going to have to stand up to the weather. As you can see, it's cold and we are outdoors. So I think we're going to go with an LPDC2, a new sign for us, a really tremendous option for wet location and for really anything. So we're going to go AC only, red, single, custom color. Let's do brown. I think that'll match the aesthetic pretty well. For the frame, for the face, we're going to go with brushed aluminum. I think that'll blend in with the stone the best. For mounting, let's do MCE. That's direct conduit entry. That's going to allow us to run a piece of conduit into the sign on the side of it so that we can be watertight and we don't have anything poking out the back, so we can sit flush against the stone. We're going to need a heater because it gets cold there. Again, we have to connect to fire alarms. We'll do FA. We were going to want SD in general. SD just makes your life easier, and especially since these things are going high up, we might as well do it. Tamper-proof screws and everything because we are outdoors. It is a public location. And then obviously, like I said, wet location, and we're going to extend the warranty just to be safe. This is what our sign looks like. This is the LPDC2, and this is what it looks like installed on the right. You can see we put one above the door and one on that archway. Let's move on to inverters. So there is more alphabet soup here, meaning just tons of product codes, and it can get a little overwhelming. So we're just going to go and start defining some of these things and dig in to the inverter soup. Maintenance bypass on inverters. This disconnects all electronics, but it allows the lights downstream of the inverter to remain on. This is for when you're performing maintenance on the inverter, so that you don't have lights going out throughout the building. You could, for example, perform maintenance during the day in a work environment without affecting the employees working there. Custom breaker, for output breakers, we can install pretty much any type of breaker, whether it's 50 amps, 10 amps, 3 amps, or even certain applications like 2-pole breakers on a 3-phase inverter. All of this can be done. Web monitoring connection allows you to access critical data from the inverter through the internet. And one thing that's cool about this is actually a free option. It will be going away soon. It will just be included with everything. But there was, due to chip shortages back in the day, we had to make this an option so that only people who needed it could order it. BMS integration, BI. This is where the inverter sends info to a building management system via a wired connection. So it's kind of similar to web monitoring in terms of you get this information, but it's going to go straight to a building management system, whichever one you have installed, and that is via a wired physical connection. And all the data points that your building management system is going to get are printed on our spec sheets, and you can view them to the right on the BMS interface points list. Programmable terminal block. This option allows you to integrate a building management system or fire alarm system as well. You only actually get 2 inputs here. You can choose from this list: AC present, battery charging, so on and so forth. And you do get field selectable wet or dry contacts. Remote annunciator. This is an LED and buzzer alarm, and it's mounted remotely from the inverter. So if you have the inverter locked in a basement or in an electrical closet, you're going to be able to hear the alarm and see the alarm from a place where maybe people are walking by. So Trip alarm and breaker, TA, this is just pretty simple. It's a breaker with a built-in alarm. When it trips, it's going to make a really annoying sound, and it's also going to alert the web monitoring system if you have specified that. One thing to note for this is it does take up 1.5 breaker spaces, so the maximum amount of breakers you can fit into an inverter is going to be a little bit less if you do have TA. Breaker locks, this allows breakers to be locked in the off position so that somebody who's performing maintenance downstream doesn't get buzzed if somebody else turns that breaker back on. So this is for OSHA lockout, tagout procedures. Some more simple options here. Extended electronics warranty, that's just going to boost the electronics warranty from 3 years to 5 years, and the extended battery warranty is going to boost the prorated battery warranty all the way up to 20 years. Keyed enclosure is going to lock the inverter and prevent tampering, meaning you need a key to get into the inverter. Seismic, you'll see this as Z4 on the spec sheet. This adds brackets and bracing, and this helps prevent anything catastrophic from happening in the event of an earthquake. All of our inverters are OSHPOD Zone 4 certified, shake table tested, including our Max, which is a floor space saving tall inverter, all the way up to 33 kVA. We'll see that in a second. Delayed transfer is for these smart power packs. These have gone out of favor with UL, so probably won't be seeing this too much, but if you do have smart power packs in your application, delayed transfer is an option you're going to want to do. This just delays the amount of time that it takes for the inverter to switch on. Our inverters are very quick with how they engage, so it slows that process down in order to allow these power packs to detect an outage. Emergency power off is just a big red button that stops everything. Pretty simple. These are mounted external to the unit. A battery thermal management system, BTMS. This is a more advanced temperature reading configuration. It puts a thermocouple at every bus bar between every 2 batteries. So our inverters do come with temperature sensing and a thermal management system, but this one's a little more advanced and includes more thermometers. A little example here. So in this application, we have a new high-rise. It is in California, and they need emergency lighting as everyone else does. There is limited space in their electrical closet, so that's going to cause us to go with the E3 Max because it is really, really space efficient at super high kVA loads. And we can see we do have a high kVA load at 26 here. Also, the tenant is a financial institution. That means that they're probably going to want a little bit of extra securities. So you can see at the top here, we went with an E3 Max for space saving, all the way up to 33 kVA, 3-phase lead calcium. This is your input breaker, and we did go with 2 different voltage output breakers, and we can fit up to 18 breakers in this with the options we have, so we're going to go with all 18. And this mixed voltages on the output breaker is going to come from our CB. So we did do CB, we did maintenance bypass switch, everyone does it. Not everyone does, I shouldn't say, but a lot of people end up going with maintenance bypass switch. We went with the warranties. Makes life a little easier on the maintenance team and down the road. We didn't go with keyed enclosure because we did seismic since we're in California, and that actually includes the keyed enclosure. We went with RA because we're locked away in an electrical closet, so we want to be able to hear our alarm. We integrated with the building management system. This is super secure for this financial institution, and it's going to allow them to integrate everything together, make things easier on the team at the building. Battery thermal management system, again, just added securities. And same thing with breaker locks. That's all I've got for you today. If you want to review some of these options and just some basic definitions of them, because I do, the reason we gave this chalk talk is it can get a little bit confusing. I did create a cheat sheet. You can find this under resources on our website. Just lists out all the options that we just talked about along with definitions. And as always, there will be a follow-up sales packet, including a link to this presentation to follow. Well, I am Tom Deutsch, and together with Evan Ackman, Greg Keel, and Matt Bird, we are absolutely here for you. They don't call us the emergency lighting experts for nothing. If you have any questions, all of our emails are listed here, and we'd be happy to help.